Hey, what's up? It's Itai again, and today I'm going to show you how to fix wrist pain when doing handstands. So I've been doing handstands for around 7.5 or 8 years now, and I've been having a lot of pains in my wrist. I've been having pains in these areas and in these areas, and I never really understood why it's happening. Really couldn't identify the problem, so I was just working out and recovering from day to day, maybe just waiting a few weeks. So only in the latest years, maybe since 2 years ago, I started really focusing on how to deal with injuries because, yeah, I'm getting older. So today I'm going to show you my full routine, what I do at the beginning of the workout, what I do in the middle of the workout, and if I feel any pain, and what I do at the end of the workout about flexibility and strengthening of the wrist. Okay, so you want to do handstands today, and every time you're doing handstand, you feel a sharp pain in your wrist, maybe at the beginning of the workout, maybe in the middle of the workout, and maybe at the end of the workout. I don't know when, but every time it hits you, and it's stopping you from getting better in your handstands, and today I'm going to help you solve it. So at the beginning of the workout, you just started the workout, I would probably just do some wrist rotations, the most simple thing, just to make my area a bit more warm. After doing some rotations, I will do rotations with some weight. Again, this is only 2 kilos, so I'm just going to do wrist rotations, and I really want to make sure that it doesn't come from the elbow or from the shoulder. So I'm just going to take the wrist and do a full circles. You really want to think about doing full circles, which means you don't want to do this small. You want to do big circles, just taking your wrist and doing big full circles. After you did full big circles with your wrist, I will do some massage to the muscles. If you have pain in your wrist, you need to understand that it's not the wrist, it's mostly the tendons that is hurting. You have tendons around here, and you have tendons around this side. Tendons connects muscles to the bone, so the wrist is a bone, and there is tendons that connects the wrist to the muscles. What muscles we have around the forearm? We have the extensors that involve a moving of fingers outside, doing this motion, and involve taking the hand and pulling it up. And the flexor muscles, if you want to feel the flexors, you can do a fist. You can really feel the flexors. The flexors, they flex the arm. The extensors extend. So after understanding that, I usually do some massaging to the muscles, because when the muscles are cold, more load will go to the tendon, and if there is more load on the tendon, then the tendon will start hurting. You need to understand that tendons takes a lot of time to heal, and the muscles can heal pretty fast. So I would start by really taking care of my extensors and flexors. Usually I just do some massaging to the extensors, to the flexors. If you want, you can use a massage gun. That's what usually I do at the beginning of the workout after some wrist rotations. Warm up my muscles. If you have any pain in your elbow, then maybe consider going to this area or this area. Tennis and golfer's elbow, also really common. After you finished using a massage gun, we're gonna do an indication. What is indication? Before you start the workout, and usually you have maybe pain in your wrist, maybe last workout you did something and you felt sharp pain, you need to identify if you have any problem with your wrist. And also make me do it a bit more flexible to the workout. You're gonna put the hands on the floor, and you're just gonna lean forward. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just doing a few leans forward. Usually I'll do the dynamics to static holds. So again, I'm gonna do 5 reps, and then I'm gonna do a hold at the end of the reps. And I'm gonna feel that pain in my wrist. If it's too painful, don't do it, but it should be painful like 4 out of 10. And I'm gonna shake the wrist. So if you felt any pain, it's really important to notice. And now I'm gonna do something that is also really important. It's called circles. I'm gonna put my hands really close to each other, and I'm just gonna do circles. So you wanna think about really drawing a big circle and feeling if you have any pain in your wrist, because you can have pain in this tendon, here maybe here. That's why it's really important to do the full rotation. but we're mostly working on these tendons, so in this area. After work, we'll see if we have any pain in this area. So I'm just gonna do full circles. If I feel any pain, maybe I felt pain here, then I'm just gonna maybe just lean a bit more to this area, and we'll try to just make it a bit warm, maybe massage a bit more the area. So if I have maybe pain here, I'm just gonna massage a bit the area around here, and I'm gonna go back to the circles. After doing 5 circles each side, I feel ready, and I'll try to figure out if I have any pain in this area. Taking 2 hands on the floor, just sitting back and taking all my weight backwards. Just sitting like that. If you don't feel anything, you can just take your knees, again, just a bit more backwards and just sit down. You want to avoid sharp pain in every step of the workout. If you felt it at the beginning, then you need to know that you don't want to stress the area doing something that doesn't make you feel this sharp pain. So you want to start the workout. We're not going to jump straight to the handstand itself because it can be a lot of load on the wrist. We're going to do simple things. We're going to start with some pike holds. I'm just going to go into the pike and I'm just going to do some wrist circles, feel if I have any pain in my wrist. If I don't, I can go step forward. I can try to do the crow or the frog. This is the frog. This is the crow. I can try and do them. Feel if I have any pain in my wrist. It's a really good warm-up for a handstand because you use the fingers and the fingers warm up the muscles to the handstand. After that, I would go to the wall, do some back to wall, do some chest to wall handstands. Again, we're gonna think about applying more and more and more weight on our wrist. After doing everything gradually, especially if you're at the beginning, it's important to do everything gradually. You started the workout and you started feeling pain. You felt the pain maybe here, maybe a pain in this area, every time you lean forward, every time you apply weight on the area. You want to see if a pain is coming back in different positions. If you are using maybe parallettes, you're doing handstand with parallettes, if the pain is still here, because maybe the pain can only be in this direction, but when you lean forward in this direction, you don't have any pain. You want to figure out where the pain comes from and avoid feeling this pain. Usually you will see someone that is having pain and you'll use wrist wraps. So wrist wraps are a really good idea to use, especially if you want to continue your workout. But the reason I really don't like using them because you start to be dependent on them. You get used to putting the wrist wraps, and once you take them off, you use them like for a few workouts. Once you take them off, you feel like your wrist is really weak and you can't do anything without them. If you're using wrist wraps, use them only after you feel some small pain. Never, never, never use them if you feel strong pain. And only use them in the middle of the workout. Never use them from the beginning because you're telling your body, okay, I can only do handstands when I have these wrist wraps. Especially if you have pains, you really need to deal with them and understand why are they happening and strengthening and mobilizing the areas that is hurting. Let's talk about the handstand itself. Usually the pain that comes from the handstand, it's because you're applying too much weight on your wrist. When you lean forward and you put all your weight on the fingers because you want to balance on the fingers, then you really have stress on your tendons around here. And also because you're pressing always with the fingers, you have a lot of pressures on the extensors muscles. The extensors muscle will get tired and even more pressure will go to the tendons. You want to have most of the weight on the palm of the hand, like around 80 or 90% on the palm of the hand. And the fingers should be like sensors. Every time you go forward, you're gonna press slightly and it's gonna take you backwards. So usually you're gonna see people that do this shape and all the time they're on their fingers, really pressing and tiring the extensors. And also they're leaning a lot forward, which take a lot of pressure on the tendons. But you wanna think about taking your shoulders backwards. It's closer to the straight handstand. Your handstand shouldn't be like perfect. You can also do it like this, and that's also good. But most of the weight is in the palm of the hand, and every time I press a little with the fingers and taking my weight back. In that moment, I have a lot more pressure on the palm of the hand and less pressure on the fingers, and my muscle will get less loaded, and the tendons have less stress on them, and they can have some more time to recover from workout to workout. I'll show you an exercise that can help you understand what does it mean leaning in a handstand. I want you to jump with the back on the wall, and probably you will notice that you are leaning forward. What you want to do is thinking about taking the floor away from you. It's the same movement of going from a push-up to a pike push-up. Really feel the motion that you're doing in your shoulder. It's really close to taking the arm up, and you're going to do the same in a handstand. Maybe you don't have the shoulder flexibility yet, but it's a really good exercise to see how far you can go. You go to a back to wall handstand, and from here, you're just going to think about taking the shoulders above the wrist. When taking the shoulders above the wrist, it's really going to help you put more weight on the palm of the hand and less on the fingers. So when you lean a lot forward, more and more weight is coming on my fingers. I really want to think about pulling my shoulder really above my wrist. So this is also a really good exercise to teach you. You can also, from here, pull the shoulders in and try to go to a handstand, and really try to get used to this kind of handstand. And it should really take the load off your wrists. You need to understand that usually there's 4 areas in the wrist that can be hurting, maybe 5. You can have it here. This mostly relates to flexing of the wrist. You can have it here. This is usually because this part, like doing extension of the wrist in this position, makes this place swollen. It's related to this muscle of the flexors. Maybe you have pain around here or here, and it's usually the extensors. If you felt any pain in any of these, I'm going to show you exercise to solve it. First exercise that I really like using is using just barbell and anything that will give me some height. I'm going to place my hand on the height and just starting doing some curling of the wrist. Again, if I have pain here, then I will mostly do this kind of curling. And if I have the pain mostly here, I'll do extensions of the wrist. If the pain is mostly in this area, I'll do extension like this. And if the pain is here, I can put it like this and do these extensions. I really want to think about loading it gradually and using more and more weight after I get used to it. But at the end of the workout, I want to do something that is pretty light, something that I can do for 20 or 30 reps. And I'm just going to do them really slow and controlled. And you really want to think about feeling the small pain that you have. So if you're not feeling any pain at all, then you maybe are not working on the right area. You should be feeling the pain that you are used to having when doing the handstand. So again, if you have pain here, you should really feel like a small pain when you take the hand and do a really hard extension. This is one exercise. I'm going to show you 2 more exercises that I use. Second exercise, which is my favorite, you take a stick and you take a band. You just want to take the band and put it around the stick. After that, closing it with the band. First exercise, just pulling it up. The more your hand is far away, the harder the exercise is. So touching the floor and going up. This exercise is for the tendon around here. Second exercise, the upside down thing. Take it behind you and we're going to pull it up. Everything I do again for 15 to 20 reps, and I do it around 2 to 3 sets at the end of the workout if I feel any pain in my wrist. Third exercise, just doing some rotations. Try to do it very slow, very controlled, and really try to do all the range of motion. Really want to think about touching the floor, but not taking it from the elbow, keeping the elbow in the same spot, and just rotating from the wrist. Last exercise that I want to show you for mobilizing and strengthening the wrist. We're going to take a band, and we're just going to do some curling of the wrist, up and down. If it's too easy, you can do it with one hand, or take maybe a bigger band. But you really want to feel that if you're letting go, then it takes your wrist down. So you need to have any pressure. It's not going to be that easy. You're going to do it both sides. And you can do it also with the extensors. So again, I'm stepping on the band, making sure the band is pulling my wrist down and pulling it up. Perfect. Let's sum everything up. At the beginning of the workout, you want to do a lot of wrist rotations, a lot of warming up for the muscles, especially the extensors, because these are the muscles that are mostly get overloaded when doing the handstand. Maybe also the flexors, because you're pushing a lot with the fingers. So really do a good warm-up for the flexors and the extensors. Use maybe a massage gun. If you want, you can also use something like a paste, like a tiger band, using something like Bengay. This is Preskindol. This is also nice. It makes a lot of foam around the area, but again, you don't want to get used to external things like wrist straps, paste, and stuff like that. After that, you want to start the workout. Do everything gradually. Start from pike. After that, go to crawl. After that, go to the wall. And only at the end, go to the freestanding handstands. You don't need to do a lot. You just need to do some 2 or 3 attempts and everything. Maybe 2 attempts in the crawl, 2 attempts in the pike, 2 attempts with the wall. And then you're ready for the handstand. If you feel any pain, then you probably need to stop the workout of the handstand and go focusing on something else. Maybe doing some pull-ups, maybe doing some dips, maybe taking parallettes and doing handstand with parallettes, something that doesn't involve any pain at all. And after that, do some mobility and strengthening. Do 2 of the exercises I just showed you. I really recommend doing exercise that involve extending the arm and exercise that involve flexing the arm, using weights, using the band, and really focus on learning more and more straight handstand, applying more and more weight on the palm of the hand. Yeah, at the beginning you're gonna press a lot with the fingers and you're gonna stress the wrist a lot. So really want to think about aiming to have more flexibility in your shoulder and opening it up a bit more. And all of these things should really help you avoid and solving the wrist problems. Last thing I'm going to say is that it takes time to build strong wrists. Tendons takes more time to build from a muscle. They retain for more time, but it's also harder to build them. So it's really important to take the time. If you're feeling any stress, then just letting it go. You don't want to get yourself injured for the next 2 to 4 weeks. You just want to continue your workout and do everything right. Do everything that I said, slow, gradually, that your tendons are getting stronger. Enjoy your workout. That's, I think, the most important thing. And good luck in your journey. Tell me if you liked the video, subscribe for more, and see you in the next video.